House Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning. Welcome to the Handicappers Report. Taking a look at the action for Saturday, December 12th. Seth, Merrow in the studio. Joining us from New Orleans is Brian Nadeau. See him now down in the paddock at Fairgrounds, and coming up a little bit later on Racing Across America, we will actually talk some Fairgrounds with Brian because they have a nice stakes-laden card coming up on Saturday, Louisiana Champions Day. So as I say, in about an hour, we'll hit on that. But Brian's going to come on this morning, talk a little Gulfstream. I'm going to talk a little Aqueduct a little later on. Brian, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Seth. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Everything's going well down here, and I hope the same is for you up there.
How are the po' boys?
You know what, Seth? We haven't done a lot of adventuring out, Joe K. and I. It's been busy, first and foremost, and it's just a little quiet down here. We snuck out on Monday night to watch some football, and we had a heck of a time just kind of finding a bar to get to that was open. A lot of places, aren't really open early in the week as well, so kind of just finding my way. I know a little bit about New Orleans. I've been here many times. Just kind of finding my way. Maybe go out for a drink after with some of the track guys. But, it's been kind of all work, no play so far yet. So we'll see what happens.
We've had fun, in the afternoon watching you do some of the paddock commentary down there. I know Joe's arrived, and we're watching Joe as well. Always enjoy his thoughts also. Speaking of thoughts, just before we get into it, I wonder if you had any thoughts on the big day in New York last week. True Timber up the with Performer kind of, they couldn't even get up for second there. But you never make a decision one way or the other on one race. I'm going to look for Performer to rebound as he gets into the season next year. Malathat looked pretty good in the Demoiselle. Looked good, but only a 76 buyer as compared to the 93 on the boys' side for Brooklyn Strong. And Sharpstar gets it done in the Go for Juan. But Brooklyn Strong may be the fun story. New York bred that they purchased earlier this year for $5,000. Now a multiple stakes winner, including a graded stake in the Remsen. He'll be fun to watch going forward. I had 10 for 10 in there. I thought top of the stretch, I was in a great position, but Brooklyn Strong runs him down. Also, the good story, Kendrick Carmouche getting his first Grade 1 win.
I thought the Kendrick Carmouche / Jack Sisterson kind of mile was awesome. You and I have talked a lot about Kendrick Carmouche, Anthony Marmino as well. The shows, and I love what you're going to from him. He's aggressive. Day and age of racing where no one's aggressive, and I think that's one of the reasons why he won a riding title. Congrats on his first Grade 1. Jack Sisterson was kind enough to do Saturdays at the spa with me this summer, and I heard from several different people before I met Jack that said he's literally the nicest guy in the world, and he was nicer than the nicest guy in the world. And he's a pretty darn good horseman, too. So it was cool to see True Timber win. Got his track. I don't know. Performer did break slow, and he didn't get his track. Also didn't do a lot of running. And, I don't know if it was an indictment or not of the Cigar Mile that a horse that had won one graded stakes race, and that was as a 3-year-old, was something to 5 in the Cigar Mile. It wasn't a great race. So congrats to True Timber and Kendrick and Jack Sisterson for taking advantage. The New York, it's always cool to see the New York bred step outside of the restricted waters and make a dent, and certainly that happened in the Remsen. Yeah, the Demoiselle was slow. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if you saw the Starlet set. They got like a 68 out there. I was wondering to Joe K if that was the slowest buyer ever for a Grade 1, but if nothing else, the winner of the Demoiselle certainly is going to run on, and she didn't have to win, and she really gobbled up the ground late. I think it was an all-curling exacta, if I remember correctly.
Triple. First 3 spots.
Triple, that's what I meant. Yeah, so all the top 3. You're right. Thank you. Yeah, so that's kind of cool, too. I don't want to speak for you or anyone else, but I don't know if these 3-year-olds, especially post-essential quality, have done a whole heck of a lot of distinguishing themselves in the afternoon since then.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I'm assuming Essential Quality, he's going to be down there this winter?
He's down there. You talked to Brad. I talked to Brad at the start of the meet. I saw Brad the other day. He just finally got down here. He's here. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to run here. And I got to tell you what, and again, it doesn't mean they're all going to run here. The horse flesh on the backstretch this winter at Fairgrounds is phenomenal. We've got, as you mentioned, Essential Quality is here. Nashville is here. He's going to go out to the Malibu at Santa Anita on Boxing Day. Mystic Guide is here for Mike Stidham. There is a lot of quality. Monomoy Girl is going to be here. There's no race for her, but she will be here at some point. So the horse flesh on the backstretch here is there's a ton of quality. The Asmussen runners are here before they, maybe they delve their way to Oaklawn a little bit. Silver State has gotten very good. He's here. So it should be a fun winter at Fairgrounds, and not only, obviously here, but seeing where some of these champions go. Essential Quality, Monomoy Girl, Nashville, I'm sure will come back, and then we see what happens there. So a lot of fun going on as it really kind of gets to the little comps coming up, and we'll be talking Derby with you and I sooner or later. So yeah, a lot of fun.
It's a fun trail, both the boys and the girls down at the Fairgrounds for the 3-year-olds. So certainly, yeah, as we go along, we'll be talking more and more about that. But right now, handicapper support, pull up the sheet on the website, and you'll get Brian's thoughts on Gulfstream. We'll get his thoughts right now as well. I'll look at Aqueduct a little bit later on. But, boy, nice card today at Gulfstream with a lot of nice stakes action as well. Let's jump into it. Race number 1 at Gulfstream on Saturday afternoon. We're at the bottom level of the claiming ranks. They're going to go the 1-turn mile. Your thoughts on race number 1?
Yeah, this is like the first power card at Gulfstream, and we'll see them all winter long. This is the first big one. Kind of a prep for the Pegasus Day that comes up in late January. One sheet selections, as you mentioned, started off on a tear and have kind of hit the skids a little bit. We got a few winners going on Thursday, 3 of them, so we'll try to get back on the beam here. Flat 1-turn mile, 7:10 over the 6 for me. Iconic and outside to January 1 just look better than this group. And I think there's a lot of speed, Seth, too, to set these two up. So I like both of them from off the pace a little bit. I'll take Iconic on top on the class drop over January 1. And then Monmouth Drive, if he can settle a little bit, I think he'll get first run on those two. I'm still a little leery about him getting sucked up in the pace, which I said is going to be quick. And I don't think those GPW races are as good as this one. So I'll play him underneath. Early pick 5 starts at 7:10 over the 6. 12:05 post, too. Take note, folks.
Yeah, and I'm just pulling up because you talked about, treading water a little bit with the picks. And I was in here on Wednesday doing Gulfstream, and I said, because my picks on Wednesday when I was in doing the handicapping show, I said, I'm kind of treading water. But I looked it up because then I went back and looked and had to mention that because I also take a look at some of the other public handicappers when I'm doing, nobody was really – and the reason why, the early pick 5, I just pulled it up because I wanted to get the figure correct. I remembered the early pick 5 on Wednesday, 50 cents, $37,000. So it was that.
When I got to the office today, Seth, I did a little bookkeeping before the Saturday one sheet. I like to have the stats up to date, and so I tabbed it all out on Wednesday. And typically, I'm sure you're like this. I know Joe Kay said this all the time at Churchill. He wasn't winning, but he was running underneath. On Wednesday, out of 10 races, I had a win in a third. So, I was just nowheresville. And that's kind of, as you alluded to, and as the numbers back up, it was a tough day. I don't think a lot of people had too much success. And if they did, they might be retiring somewhere today because it was a heck of a day to do well. That's for sure.
No, if you get it right, you're going to get rewarded. It's just tough to string them together on days like that. All right, race number 2 at Gulfstream on Saturday. Maiden special 2-year-olds going 3/4 of a mile.
3-2 over the 1-7. I'll steal your line, maybe master of the obvious here, but Prime Factor for Todd looks to be in a good spot. They paid $900,000 for this Son of Quality Road. You got to dig a little bit, but the female family is one of the great families from Sampson Farm, a homebred that, the dam here, or Haley Bray, is a daughter of Dance Swiftly, who didn't run, but she is a half-sister to Dance Smartly and Smart Strike. So that great family tree from Sampson Farm. They paid, like I said, they paid $900 for this one. And, I don't see a lot in here. So I would think Prime Factor with a slew of works at Palm Beach Downs can run a little bit. And if that's the case, that puts him in a good spot here. Semper Fidelis is clearly the best of the proven runners for Sappy. A solid enough second on debut at GPW at 3-2. Sappy's not necessarily known as a potent win-out guy, but he's 25% second out maidens. This one ran on going 5.5. The added distance will help. So if the firsters can't run, Semper Fidelis is going to be real heck to pay in here. The winner last time came back to win too. And then down inside, I want to call him, I guess I'll call him the other Pletcher, Bracken, a son of Speightster that they paid a lot of money for. These Speightsters are selling well and have been pretty precocious. They paid $285 for this one. Third full out of a dam, the other two didn't really do a lot. So let's watch one from the rail today. 3-2 over the 1. Broadway in the mix for Clement, but this is a turf pedigree. So let's wait on this one a little bit. 3-2 over the 1-7 early pick fourth.
And I will also note we're in championship meet jockey colony mode because the two Pletchers have the Ortiz brothers on board. Gaff Leone has been there for a while now, and certainly what he's done over the past year or so makes him worth paying attention to. Paco Lopez has gotten off to a good start, and Luis Saez is Luis Saez. So it's going to be a fun winter down there on the jockey side of things as well.
Yeah, and I've said this, I think you agree, but for my money, Luis Saez is as good as all of them. I know he just rides the heck out of everyone down there. For a guy that doesn't really have like Barn, like the Ortiz have, or the Ortiz have Chad, you know, Todd's got his riders as well. For Luis Saez to do what he does on a day in, day out basis, it's a testament to his talent, it's a testament to the job Kieran's done as well. So yeah. I'm a big fan, and I love the aggression that he shows too.
Kieran, did you read the Sue Finley article earlier this weekend about the friend of hers that was trying to become a jockey agent in New York and the requirements here?
No, but you know what? Along the Kevin Bacon 6 lines of separation, I know my good buddy John Panagot gave me the rundown back when he was starting for Javier. And yeah, it was everything but a triple cavity check, I think, at the airport.
She had a young guy, and I'll linked over on Equidaily. It's on TDN. She had a friend of hers, young friend of hers, who was going to take the book of Farron Peterson because Julie Crone went back to California. And a young guy studying for his master's degree, but he couldn't take the test because in New York, you either exercise rider, a jockey, or a trainer. And that's the first requirement. And if you haven't been one of those, you can't be a jockey's agent in New York, or at least take the test here, which was, it's just funny. And I'm always interested in the nuts and bolts of the game. And that's something I had never realized. And as I say, the article is kind of worth checking out. But again, brought it up because Kieran now on the jockey agent side, doing a great job with Luis Saez. All right, third race at Gulfstream today. Optional claimer, non-winners of one other than on the grass at a mile.
Yeah, on the grass, I think we're going to be okay, but the MTOs will be on the website and all that. But on the grass, I've got a 4.8 over the 2. I think the drop in class or Gambling Cat should bode well. Mike Maker was just a house of fire at Churchill Downs. Now, this one didn't run too well at all, I should say, in the Jessamine, the grade 2, behind Aunt Pearl, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. So no knock there. I thought the Belmont debut was very strong, and there's not a heck of a lot in here, so I think Gambling Cat can get back on the beam. Cone Lima 9-5 on the morning line, just bizarre. Never tried turf, decent enough form on the dirt for Todd. Second to Simply Ravishing in the PG up at Saratoga off the turf, that's fine. But first time turf is not a Todd angle, and she spots, experience on the grass to Gambling Cat. So I would think Gambling Cat is favored in here. Cone Lima should run well. I'm going to put her second. Down inside, Runaway Rockette in third for Bill Mott. Got to the turf last time. Was all out to get up at Keeneland with a slow figure. But if nothing else, she really, really took to the turf. So she appears to have some talent. But I'll go with I think the class dropping Gambling Cat should be a little too much in here. 4.8 over the 2 for me in the third.
All right, we kick off stakes action at Gulfstream on Saturday with the Rampart Grade 3 event for the Fillies and Mayors going the 1-turn mile.
Yeah, 5 over the 6-3, Seth. I think the key to this race is how much pressure Bajan Girl is going to put on Latruska. I know Bajan Girl's wired for fun in her last 2, but she did it in really slow time. And Latruska is pretty darn fast, and a 1-turn mile looks pretty good to me. So I think good work there, boys, on the graphics. Appreciate that. I think Latruska 2-1 on this morning line. Blinkers off, maybe gets her to settle a little bit, but I think she's down the road in here. And I think I'm just against Bajan Girl in here is what it really comes down to. And I think chasing Latruska is going to be her undoing. So I put Dream Marie in second at a little bit of a price, and Sally's Curling. I don't see Sally's Curling getting up. She's got a big problem because she has no speed whatsoever. I know she's 4 for 5 at a mile. I get it all, but boy, she's got no speed at all. She didn't make any dent in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint either, getting her pace. I put her underneath. Dream Marie I've got in second. Maybe she spices up here exactly because she'll be in a nice spot off the far turn trying to answer the class question here. But I'm all Latruska, 5 over to 6-3.
Yeah, Mike Callahan and I did the stakes preview, and I'm with you. I think Latruska kind of speed pops them in here at the 1-turn mile. 5th race at Gulfstream this afternoon. State bred optional claimers, non-winners, and one other than 8.5 furlongs on the turf.
1-2 over the 5. And, Fierce Scarlet's clearly the horse to beat for Chad, but she doesn't have a lot of speed. This turf course has been fair, especially the past few days. It's been very fair. So that bodes well for Fierce Scarlet. But I think second off the long layoff for What a Beaut. More tactical speed under Jose. She'll save all the ground. She's going to get first run on Fierce Scarlet. And I think she can move forward in a big way off that comeback. She had some decent enough form before she went away, and it was over a year layoff. She had to shake off a lot of rust last time. So from a ground-saving post with first run on Fierce Scarlet, let's try to put her on top at a little bit of a price. Obviously, Fierce Scarlet's the horse to beat for Chad. She's got the numbers. She's just better than these on paper. But, boy, she always runs out of room, Seth, and she's lost 6 in a row and has no speed. And, this, as I mentioned, this turf course has been fair, but I don't want to drop too far out of it. I'm going to put her in second, and then for third, Passion Plus is another one, has good figures, no speed, and she's got to step up in class today, too. I will put her in third. We'll call it 1-2 over the 5 as we end the early pick 5 and early pick 4.
Yeah, and why don't we use that as the break? We'll take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll kick off the Rainbow 6 with more stakes action at Gulfstream. Stay tuned.
You're watching Capital OTB TV. Wager at CapitalOTBBet.com for the most comprehensive wagering site and the best player rewards in New York State.
Having trouble finding us? It's actually quite simple. Whether online or on your TV, it's never been easier to watch and wager on championship horse racing with Capital OTB. Simply log on to CapitalOTBBet.com. There you can watch our morning shows, live stream races, and wager on our state-of-the-art wagering platform. You can also watch from the comfort of your home on Spectrum Cable Channel 1250 or Fios Channel 467 and win more with Capital OTB.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Welcome back to the Handicapper Support. Seth Merrow and Brian Nadeau taking a look at Gulfstream now and Aqueduct a little bit later on. Let's continue with Gulfstream. As we promised before the break, we will look now at the Rainbow 6 sequence, kicking off in race number 6, which is more stakes action, the Grade 3 Sugar Swirl. These are the ladies going 3/4 of a mile.
And a lot of ladies with speed, Seth. 1-4 over the 6-5. Sound Machine probably isn't enough right now. But I think there's some things that work to her favor. She's still lightly raced. She tossed a sloppy track run last time, and her form's better. And she's got speed to settle off of. The blinks go on today for Sappy to tighten her up a little bit. Jose Ortiz lands here, and I just think she sits the right trip. And the fact that so much speed in here might make her look a little better than the rest and bridge the gap. I'm going to put her on top, which should be, I mean, it better be a decent price because she's definitely not as good as some of these other gals. Bronx Beauty is another one that can settle a little bit for Saez and make a run late. Her form's decent enough, not as sexy on paper as some of these others. But again, the race flow, I think, really suits her. She got out of the sloppy race last time. Her fast track form is pretty good. I think she can make a late run. Aunt Nadine, is you look at the dirt run 2 back. It's not going to win this, but it puts her in shouting distance, and she's the third one with a stalking gear for Maker and Zayas. So I am like race flow here, Seth. If there's a scratch or two, then I'd probably want to completely shift my around. But between Lake Island, Golden, and Cinnabunny, something's got to give with those 3 gals going 6 furlongs, dueling around the track. And I'm just hoping they all come unglued. 1, 4, 6 for me. Cinnabuddy I have as the best of the speed, only because she's outside the other 2 of them. I'm just hoping this falls apart, Seth. 1, 4 over to 6, 5 for me. As you mentioned before the break, Rainbow 6 time as well.
I said during the the stakes preview with Mike Callahan, looking at the PPs of Ladies Island took the wind out of my sails because it reminded me 2 races back in the honorable miss up at Saratoga. I was playing one of those weekend contests, and I needed Ladies Island to get it done for a bull that was going to put me in a money position late in the day, and she just got run down by Come Dancing for our friends Ladies Island, Rich Averill and the Matisse boys. As I say, just came up short. That's one of those, you look back at the PPs, you remember those days, it's like, oof, man, that was too close to lose, but it was a nice run, just could not get it done for me. 7th race at Gulfstream on Saturday, maiden special, 2-year-olds going the 1-turn mile.
Late pick 5 as well, 6-1 over the 5. Check the tote on Alexander Valley. I mean, they paid over $2 million for this one. Godolphin did. It's Bill Mott, so you're not allowed to. You can expect better next time. But as far as Gulfstream Park 2-year-old maiden races go, boy, I don't know if we're going to look back, Seth, and think this is going to be filled with a bunch of tigers. And they paid, like I mentioned, 2.15 for Alexander Valley. The damn Terra's Tango earned over $800,000. It's her first foal. Medaglia d'Oro on top. The works here are solid. The barn jockey Junior Alvarado is here. I think there's a lot to like about Alexander Valley. I don't want to, my feelings on the Gulfstream Park morning line. I think, Seth, if this horse is anywhere remotely close to 6-1, I would run to the hills. He's supposed to be 2-1 in here. I mean, he's supposed to be very, very live, not only because of who he could be, but who else is in here. I'll go downside to mid-laner for Eddie K. Ran very well on debut at Churchill, and I guess he's probably supposed to be favored if Alexander Valley's not live. Debut was solid enough, going a tricky 7. Now he stretches out to a mile. He'll be controlling speed in here, but he was 91-1 on debut for an Eddie K barn that's 17% on the year. That's wild, 20% with 2-year-olds. So my goodness, he was dead on the board. It's another reason why I think Alexander Valley's in a good spot. And then Donegal Bay didn't do any running at Saratoga for Todd and was 12-1 too. And Calibrate has not come back to acquit himself nicely at all. Underneath the stud fee of Uncle Mo, 90,000 to a 125. I don't think that's ever a good angle. So I'm underneath with him. American Law for Gargan, they spent 200 for. There's no pedigree whatsoever here. I just think if Alexander Valley can run a little, Seth, he's winning this race.
We will turn the page to more stakes action. The ungraded My Charmer comes up as race number 8. It's the Fillies and Mares going 8.5 furlongs on the grass.
Just 5 over to 6-3. This is the play of the day for me. Lady Lawyer looks best in here. She also looks the controlling speed in a race with absolutely no pace whatsoever. And, I think she ran well on the lead last time, which is not a typical spot for a Chad horse to be, but Tyler Gaplione put her on the lead last time. I think she'll be on the engine here as well, and she just gets loose over a field lacking any initiative early on, and I think that'll be telling. I put a price in second, Medita, I guess we'll call her, underneath. Let's toss the the Tapeta run at PID last time. You look at the Kentucky Downs race, it was pretty solid. It gets a good second. It was a good figure. I think she can complete what should be a decent enough exacta. And our Baby Ruth, cool name there, 1-for-1 at Gulfstream. She'll be a price underneath as well. Let's call it 5 over the 6-3, Seth, in race 8.
All right, we will turn the page now to race number 9. Back to the graded stakes section. The Harlan's Holiday, 3-year-olds and up, going 1 1/16 in race number 9.
7-1 over the 2-5, and there's not a lot of speed in this one. And there's a lot of runners that are going to be well respected that don't have any speed. I look at Fat Man, Tax off the layoff, Math Wizard, who I'm dead set against, and Taweej. Well, I hope I can get better than 4-1 on him because he's not good enough to win this race yet. He's run relatively slow in his 3 easy wins at Gulfstream, but he's stepping up for Todd. He's 3 for 4 over the track in his stakes debut here, and he's going to sit the right kind of trip off Royal Earn. And I think maybe I mentioned earlier down inside with the speed play earlier on of Sound Machine. It's the same kind of play with Taweej, except the other way. I think in a race without a lot of speed, he gets first run, and maybe it elevates him a little bit. And I'm going to put him on top. Tax is the class for Gargan, and he's 41% off his elongated layoff. He's been working well, but I'm just wondering if he needs one, prepping for what I would think they hope is a run in the Pegasus. And, you know, as nice as Tax can be, he's no great shakes either, and he's been off since April in a no-show at Oaklawn, and he didn't run in the Pegasus at all. So I think there's chinks in this armor. I'm going to put him underneath. And Fat Man, no speed at all, going 2 turns. He wants a 1-turn mile or a 1-turn 7-furlong race. I don't know how he gets up either, Seth. So I'm all race flow here. And I think Todd Wees really gets the best of it. 7-1 over the 2-5 to me, a little bit of a price on an improving lightly race runner for Todd Fletcher.
During the preview, I went with the same horse, and pretty much you're thinking. I don't think this horse on the numbers is fast enough. And they paid $2.5 million. And $2.5 million, you know, a Todd horse, you don't want to look at that as the stakes debut in race number 5 of the career. You're thinking race 2 or 3, this one will be dropped in. But the horse has done nothing wrong, and I like the little 2-month break. I think off the 2-month break, maybe that move forward is the horse is primed for that on Saturday afternoon. So I went with the same angle. Top Weege is going to be intriguing to me as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they certainly bought this horse to run in these kind of races. And Todd's been very patient with him. Obviously, I'll just sugarcoat it. This horse had some major issues. I mean, he debuted in June of his 4-year-old season. I mean, that's unheard of. So there's been some major problems along the way, but it looks like he's certainly going good right now. And who knows, maybe he catches this group at the right time too.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm with you there. Fort Lauderdale comes up as race number 10 on the 11 race program. $1,000 up for grabs in the Grade 2 event. 1 1/8 on the turf.
A lot of speed, right? A lot of speed. Some like it high. Factor this, Halliday. I think something got to give. And Delaware with it off, ran well in the Artie Schiller last time behind Therapist. Saves all the ground for Brad Chad, the pink and yellow Mike Dubber here. And I just think he mows them all down at a trip that should be to his liking as well. Spooky Channel is another that's going to like the speed. He might want a little longer. He might need this. He might be prepping for the Pegasus World Cup turf, but he's going to run on late. And then I'm against the speed. Some like it. Hop Brown doesn't need the lead. And you know, he's a huge threat if he can settle a little bit, and he's shown he can do that. But I also think he's done his best running on the lead, and I don't think he gets it here unless they are really hell-bent on getting it, because Halliday's got to go from the outside. Factor this will be forwardly placed and pressing. I have those 3 underneath, Seth, but I just think this one, it's 9 furlongs too, and a couple of these aren't necessarily 9 furlongs horses. and Halliday is the first one that comes to mind. I think this gets a little wobbly in the lane, and that's why I like Delaware from off of it and at a price spooky channel as well, because I think this one falls apart in deep stretch.
I had the same feeling, and I took a pop with Spooky Channel to mow him down in the stretch. I looked at that one. But as we know in American racing, they'll probably hit the 3/4 mark. Halliday will be 3-11 ourselves.
Oh, my goodness. You couldn't have said it any better, Seth. That is so well put in this day and age of racing where there's 5 speeds. Well, I was just talking about it yesterday with Joe and someone else, and it's like, yeah, I'm going, you're going, you look over, you're not going, well, I'm not going, and then all of a sudden somebody gets loose, and as a handicapper, you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Boy, it's maddening.
It's so frustrating. And it was what maybe ago or 4 seasons ago up at Saratoga, the whole meet was like that. You looked and you saw there are 3 speeds in this race, and then on the backstretch, it's like, oh, everything I saw, my crystal ball was completely wrong, and it was totally frustrating. Luckily, the last couple of seasons, it's been at least a little bit better, but there was that one year, as I say, 3 or 4 summers ago, man, it was frustrating. All right, the 11th at Gulfstream, back on the grass at 1.16 miles for $40,000 to $50,000 maiden claimers.
1-9 over the 12-6-11. The drop for Bill Mott with Lease blinkers on for more speed, saves all the ground. This is the old call and a real scramble, Seth. I don't have a strong opinion. I wouldn't want a short price. The drop on World Cruiser should help for Clement. Mirror Mission's drawn terribly, but boy, the debut should win this. He's another dropper. Million is another dropper for Todd, and then Daisy's Doc, if nothing else is proven at the level. It's a tough one to end all the horizontals. 1-9 over the 12-6-11 to, as we talked about, wrap up the first power card of the meet at Gulfstream Park.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll shift our attention to Aqueduct for Saturday afternoon. Stay tuned.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances, and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. It's in front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Falbrough. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Brian and Seth with you. Just went through the power card at Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Seth's going to get into Aqueduct now. 12:20 is the opener. Early pick 5 there as well. Maidens, 3-year-olds, 20,000 is the tag. 9 furlongs on the main track. Don't see that too often.
And I think that's going to be the kind of the game plan for the winter season. It's these 12-20 posts, I think, will be kind of standard. I have it 6, 9, 5, and 1. Paint Music for me comes in from Laurel for Michelle Nevin, has been racing against a little bit better and doing it for a waiver too. So this is a class move, dropping in for the tag on the move up to New York. Numbers stack up nicely with this group. So, short price on the morning line, I think probably deservedly so, may have an edge on these. In second spot, use number 9, Open Lengths. Tossed in a clunker last time, but with a number that was pretty good. But it was on the turf. It was against Better. The dirt race 2-back was not so good against Better. But 3-back up at the Finger Lakes ran a decent third in an off-the-turfer at Saratoga back in July. That's kind of what I'm focusing on. The career debut and the off the turfer in July was good. Showed some speed and then faded. That seemed like one to build on. And then the horse just kind of went in the wrong direction. I'm going to look for this horse getting back to the dirt track with a reduced rate this afternoon to maybe get closer to what we saw in that debut effort. And then Tis Me, Bobby McGee in the third slot. Jeremiah Englehart, runner, of some nice improving buyer numbers over the last three starts, the first three starts of the career, adds the blinkers. Another one that might be primed for a little move forward this afternoon to fit nicely with this group. In the opener at Aqueduct, 6, 9, 5, and 1.
All right, race 2, early pick 4 time, and I saw a quote from DG, our buddy Dave Grenning, the other day that they plan on running on the turf through the weekend. So that on December 12th, I think that bodes pretty well. This one's on the outer. It's a state-bred maiden claimer, 40s to tag, 6 furlongs on that outer turf.
Should it change over to the dirt? I have it 15, 7, and 9, 15, 7, and 9 on the dirt, but on the turf, 11, 9, 7, and 4. Bricko on top for Jim Bond. I've used this horse a bunch of times throughout the career and just hasn't gotten it done in 6 starts yet. I'll jump on board again. Just number-wise has a little bit of an edge on this bunch. But again, it's a horse that just seems maybe a little camera shy. The couple of races up at Saratoga were very good. At Belmont, 2 back, it was a little more disappointing. And certainly here at Aqueduct last time, was not what I want to see on Saturday afternoon. But again, just overall, I think this horse might have an edge on this bunch. So I'm going to take a little pop here. I'm not sure whether the cutback in distance is going to be a bonus or not. I will hope so. So I'll put Bricko on top. But as you can kind of decipher, I am lacking in total confidence, certainly. Scuttlebuzz in the second spot. Number-wise, this horse, I think, fits nicely for Jonathan Thomas and is also getting back to the turf after an off the turf for last time, but more importantly, maiden special weight to maiden claiming, and that's the angle that I think moves Scuttlebuzz forward. Tercero in the third spot, dropped down to this level last time, showed some nice early speed, just caught late. That was an off the turf event. The turf race 2 back, I thought, though, was okay. It was a 5th place finish in a field of 9, but the number was pretty solid. So this will be the first dirt start for a tag since the career debut. And the career debut was okay, but I think the horse is even better now. So Tercero could be a little bit dangerous as well. In race number 2, I have it 11, 9, 7, and 4.
Race 3, back to the main track. It's a state-bred optional claimer. The tag's 40. It's a 2X, 6 furlongs, as on the main.
This is an evenly matched bunch, and I kind of went back and forth. And I was all over the place here, but I wound up 7, 6, 3, and 2. Call Me Harry. And Call Me Harry, clearly with the 7 turf starts and 8 career starts, is a little more of a turf runner. And it's that time of year where trainers and owners are saying, well, let's see what we have. Do we keep going for the winter? Do we go south? Do we put the horse away for the winter? But the off the turf race 2 back was okay. The number was the lowest buyer of the career. So the horse is probably better on turf, but I just kind of felt this horse has the potential to have a little speed, has a little positional speed, might have to sit off steam engine a little bit, but I think it's classy enough. And again, the dirt start was okay and matches up with these. I'll tilt with Call Me Harry, but there is the surface question mark. Steam engine may be the speed pop play in here. Again, as I say, Call Me Harry tends to show a little speed, but doesn't necessarily need the lead. I think Steam Engine is more of a need the lead type. There are a couple others in here with some speed, though, but I think of the speeds, the Orlando Noda runner Steam Engine may be the one you want to hop on. And then Power Up Painter for Linda Rice. Last few buyers are moving in the right direction and could be an intriguing entrant in here, coming from a little bit off the pace if we do get some speed up front, which I don't think is out of the question, obviously, with Steam Engine and Bronx Bomber, maybe a couple others in here as well. Third at Aqueduct. As I say, an evenly matched bunch. I could have pointed at 2 or 3 others with similar confidence, but I went 7, 6, 3, and 2.
All right, one more before the break. It's on the inner. Again, it's Fillies and Mares 3 and up, $30,000 2L, a mile and a 16.
Always got to root for our man Steve Bick and his DT stables. I have to mention he has Minute Mouse in here, the number 12 horse. I didn't pull a trigger on Minute Mouse, but certainly rooting for that team. I have it Oh, should it go on the dirt? Let me say first, 1A, 15, 13, and 8. Again, if it goes on the dirt, 1A, 15, 13, and 8. But on the grass, 8, 14, 2, and 7. I went with Lido Key on top. Last race was okay. The buyer went backwards a little bit, but it was a nice closing effort to be second. The race 2 back was a good second with a number that stacks up nicely with these. The horse was claimed out of that race up at Saratoga 2 back, and then came back at Belmont in the first start off the claim. Again, to have the number go in the wrong way a little bit, but be a good closing second. I think the horse will benefit from that, second start in the new barn and move forward. And again, the new barn is also Mike Maker. So expect a nice performance from Lido Key on Saturday afternoon. Second slot, we will go out to the number 14. We'll need some help there. That's too deep on the AE list. But the Grand Motion Runner, if this horse gets in, has to be paid attention to. Has some nice early speed and will be a player. Again, we'll need a couple of scratches, but if Candy Flower gets in, you have to with that early speed in the outside post position. There's enough time at this distance to get some positioning, going into that first turn. So we'll hope Manny Franco gets this one out there and, again, gets the position should the horse get in. Maribel May in the third spot. A couple of nice finishes in the last 2 starts. Last time, a good second against very similar adds the blinkers on Saturday afternoon, and a player, an RV Treasure down in the 4th spot. But again, if Candy Flower doesn't get in, that one moves up a little bit. And I think this one, off some nice improving numbers and a little dose of class relief, is a player on Saturday afternoon, and potentially a 10-1 morning line price with Trevor McCarthy on board. RV Treasure in the 4th. I have it 8, 14, 2, and 7.
All right, that will bring us to our final break here on the Handicappers Report. When we come back, Seth will get into the late pick 5 at the Big A. Stay tuned.
Horses racing, people betting. It's been going on since before the Roman Empire. And the fastest horse is still the one that wins. Where there's gambling, there's cheating. That hasn't changed either. What has changed are the tools used to combat doping and cheaters. Today, professional horse racing operates under an aggressive anti-doping program, testing labs on par with the Olympics, and standards tougher than human sport. For 85 years, the Association of Racing Commissioners International has fought for safe horses and honest sport. ARCI standards form the basis for the rules of racing. Today, they call for a new expanded program to protect all horses, young and old. To join with them or learn more, visit arci.com.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
You're watching Capital OTB TV. Wager at CapitalOTBBet.com for the most comprehensive wagering site and the best player rewards in New York State.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Brian and Seth with you. We got through Gulfstream in an 11-race stakes card, and Seth is now wrapping up Aqueduct late pick 5 time in race 5. It's a $40,000 maiden claimer for state-bred 2-year-olds, 6 furlongs on the main track.
I will once again mention local ownership. Going to root for our friends at Eddie F's with Boo Hoo in this race, the number 9 horse. Again, I didn't pull a trigger there, but I was eating some fried clams at Eddie F's a couple of months ago and talking to Eddie himself, and he was talking about some first-time starters that were going to make starts towards the end of the season, and he was feeling pretty good about some of them. So we'll see what Boo Hoo does. I went in this race, though, 6, 7, 4, and 3. Bowing Snowman on top. First couple of starts of the career were against similar company, and they were pretty good. Couple of second-place finishes with improvement from start 1 to start 2 for Horatio DePaz. Jose Lezcano jumps on board this afternoon. So, again, I think off the so far the sequence and the nice improvement start 1 to start 2. Further improvement is not unlikely. And if we do get that, Bowing Snowman may wind up being the one to beat. Reunion Tour in the second spot. Similar scenario. Nice improvement start 1 to start 2. Start 2 is at a mile. Start 1 at 6 furlongs. So I kind of like the stretch out and start 2 and now the cutback today, which I think could be beneficial as well for Reunion Tour. And then what's my category in the third spot? Goes out for Carlos Martin off a near miss last time with a number that matches nicely with those that have run in this bunch and also makes the maiden special weight to maiden claiming move. So what's my category could be very, very interesting in here. Going to be interested to see 3-1 on the morning line. Won't surprise me if this horse winds up, morning line is the favorite, but winds up being shorter off, again, that near miss against Maiden Special Company last time with a number, as I say, not a spectacular number, but a good number as compared to this bunch. So in the fifth at Aqueduct, I have it 6, 7, 4, and 3.
A lot of state-bred races, but a lot of tough races on the card as well, and a lot of different ways to go, too. The sixth is an open race, $25,000 2L, 1 mile on the main, kicking off the late pick 4.
I have it 9, 4, 8, and 2. I went out to Pier 40, a horse with only 1 win in 19 career starts, but it was 2 starts ago. I went back and forth, I will have to say, because the fact that, Pier 40 only has that 1 win, I was looking for alternatives, to be perfectly honest. I just went around and looked, and I just kept coming back to Pier 40. So I land there with trepidation, as I say. But the win 2 back and the second place finish last time, number-wise, match up nicely with this group. And the fact of the matter is, I say he has the only 1 win. This is an N2L, so there aren't really any more potent runners in here. What you would look for would be a lightly raced runner with some potential, maybe. Otherwise, we're looking at horses that are kind of in the same boat as Pier 40, and this one at least has some nice tries, including the win 2 back against Maiden 20s in the second last time, but nice tries in the last couple of starts. So I landed there, as I say, with some trepidation. Grand in the second slot. Comes in from 2, 3, 4 starts back Presque Isle, and then went down to Churchill Downs. So now comes up to New York to try this type. And I think the Presque Isle races and the Churchill Downs race, at least number-wise, match up nicely. And this is one that at least you can say, it's kind of a fresh face coming in from out of town. So maybe there's an angle there that can give you a little bit of confidence. And again, a horse that 1 win in 14 starts. Elusive Ruler in the third spot. Question mark here is the surface. The recent races, the last 6 starts have been on the turf. They go back to May. They've all been number-wise pretty good and match up nicely with this group. The dirt numbers at the bottom of the page are a little lighter. Maybe the horse is just better now, though. So Elusive Ruler in the mix for me. And again, could prove to be an interesting alternative if, like me, you're a little cautious about Pier 40 and playing, kicking off your pick 4 in this race. But in the sixth at Aqueduct, I have it 9, 4, 8, and 2.
Race 7 kicks off the last pick 3 of the day. It's a 1X, 3 and up, going a mile on the main.
9, 10, 8, and 7. I put Will Sing for Wine on top for Bill Mott. Just seems on the numbers, seems to be in a good spot as compared to most of these, as opposed to at least most other than Vintage Hollywood. Vintage Hollywood had better numbers. I just looking at Vintage Hollywood, I wasn't totally convinced on that one. That horse, 8-1 on the morning line. I think this horse, Vintage Hollywood, will take some action, put him right underneath. But I just kind of thought maybe there was just a progression over the last couple of starts with the move to the dirt for Will Sing for Wine. May have that one primed for a decent effort this afternoon. This was one where the puzzle was a little tough to solve for me. So again, I have a couple that I'm not totally convinced with, but between the two, I thought Will Sing for Wine was a little bit better. So I'll go there and put Vintage Hollywood underneath. Then Family Biz, who again on the numbers recently is pretty good. Second off the claim for Dave Duggan, and 12th man for Michelle Nevin, being lightly raced and a couple of seconds bookending a win in the last 3 starts, as this one is potentially an interesting player. This is a tough race, fun race. Dudley Square for Todd is one I left out of the mix that I might regret. Linda Rice has Blind Willie McTell, who could be a player in here. Singapore Trader. Again, this last pick 4 is kind of a tough sequence, including this race. But in the 7th at Aqueduct for me, I have it 9, 10, 8, and 7.
And that's got to be literally the best betting race of the weekend anywhere. A 9-2 morning line favorite. Just wild value throughout there. The Alex Rob's a good one too. State Breds, $100,000, 9 furlongs on the main track. And I'm looking through it now, and the gang's all here, including Mr. Buff, on a week's rest after a pop and stop in a cigar mile, where they just flew early. We talked about Performer, and I think that kind of the fact they went so crazy early onset, the Performer didn't make a dent. It kind of poo-poos his effort that much more. But what'd you think of Mr. Buff on the short turnaround? Really such a cool horse, and a good race right here too for New York Reds.
I'll be rooting for him because, as you say, he is a cool horse, over $1 million. And I just took a little pop against, just because this clearly couldn't have been the game plan. They wanted a nice performance in the Cigar Mile, and then they wouldn't have come back. But so I'm taking a little stand against. I have it 6, 4, 1, and 3. Mr. Buff being Mr. Buff can win this race. I just thought, again, given the scenario of the race last week, I would go with Bank It, who's a horse I've liked throughout the career. And I thought the last couple of races were pretty good. The second to Mr. Buff in the Empire Classic, and the third last time behind Funny Guy in the New York Stallion Series. Stretch out again today to the mile and an eighth. I'm going to tilt in that direction for the Asmussen runner. As I say, it's a horse I've liked throughout the career, and I thought over the last couple of races, maybe getting into some form that would give him a little bit of an edge, perhaps on Saturday afternoon. But if Mr. Buff comes back with a Mr. Buff performance, this strategy may prove fruitless, as Mr. Buff is just really a very talented New York bred. Stepping into open company, it's been tough, but against his own kind, he is just very, very tough. I was just, as I say, willing to take a little stand against, given the scenario of the race last week. Seafoam, nice win, 2 back against open optional claimers, a third behind Mr. Buff and Bankit last time in the Empire Classic, puts him in the conversation. Fun race. It's just going to be fun to see what Mr. Buff does do off the week rest. But in the 8th at Aqueduct, I have it 6, 4, 1, and 3.
An easy horse to root for, I think, too. John Kimmel, the Broman, he's done a great job with them. Let's close it down. Ninth race at Aqueduct at $25,000. State bred maiden claimer, 1 mile on the main.
4, 8, 2, and 16. The 16 is a couple deep on the AE list. Should that one not get in, pull in the 9. But I'll put Bielefeld on top. Goes out for Dave Donk. Has been on the turf in 4 of the last 5 starts. But the off the turf for 2 starts back was okay. Fits nicely with this bunch. I just think on talent and a little bit of class relief today, Bielefeld may have the edge on this group. Prince Halo in the 2nd spot. Wayne Potts going decently down in New York. This one comes in from Finger Lakes, and so may get overlooked a little bit because this is a class move. I love the Naira runners going up to Finger Lakes. Typically, it's a negative class move going the other way, but this is the time of year where you have to take a second look. And so this is a horse that has shown a little talent up at Finger Lakes, and I think at this time of year fits in decently with this bunch on the Naira circuit. So Prince Halo in the mix for me. And then Unbridled John in the 3rd spot. A couple of nice second-place finishes, most recently Belmont, and against fairly similar last time here at Aqueduct. And so with those starts and the positional early speed, I think belongs in the mix this afternoon. So the 9th at Aqueduct, 9, 8. Again, if the 16 doesn't make it in, pull the 9 into the mix. All right, there's a little Saturday afternoon look at Aqueduct. Also at Gulfstream Park. Do want to remind folks that this afternoon there will be a OTB Live bankroll here at the Clubhouse Racebook. I'll have $300 to play on behalf of 20 randomly selected folks. Show up between 11 and 2. Put your name in the hat to potentially get selected on the team. Team gets selected at 2 o'clock. I'll start playing at about 12:30, and we'll go to maybe 4:30 or 5. Hopefully, juice that $300 up to much, much more. And the 20 folks on the team will split all that up at the end of the day. Looking forward to it. OTB Live Bankroll this afternoon at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Brian, appreciate the visit. And again, I'll tell people to stay tuned. Coming up a little bit later on in Racing Across America, we will have you back on again to talk a little fairgrounds because they have a nice stakes-laden card this afternoon. But appreciate the Gulfstream thoughts on this edition of Handicappers Report.
Always, Seth. Good to talk to you. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy it on what's a great card at Gulfstream and Aqueduct.
Absolutely. All right, we'll wrap it up for this edition of the Handicappers Report. Again, stay tuned. Top of the hour, Racing Across America. We'll see you then.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.